Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com, and welcome to the video where I'm going to go over all the different planets and how they work in our upcoming open narrative campaign, Warzone Apothis. For more details on Warzone Apothis, go to MiniWarGaming.com/Apothis or click the link in the video description below. First on our list is Vadarak, a forge world that is run by the Adeptus Mechanicus that has a secret that the Inquisition would not be happy to find out about, but thankfully has no idea. For centuries, Vadarak has been one of the leading forge worlds in the subsector of Apothis and has provided some of the best technology. And it seems to be that it must be because they have more standard template constructs than other forge worlds, but really is another reason. It's because centuries ago, when the Adeptus Mechanicus found this planet, they discovered that there was a tomb world underneath. And this particular faction of the Adeptus Mechanicus were very interested in studying that technology. So under the guise of creating a forge world, they settled this planet and started to delve deep into the tomb world. Now they've only uncovered a fraction of the tomb world because of all the safety mechanisms they need to put in place so that they don't awaken all of the Necrons there. But already they've been able to reverse engineer some of the technology. Well, Knum, of course, knows already that this is a tomb world. And so the Necrons are here, just like he has to countless other tomb worlds. He reawakens them, kills their overlords, and takes it over and folds it into his huge dynasty. On top of that, with the recent problem with his world engine being sabotaged by the Space Marines who just came out of the warp all of a sudden in one of our campaigns, he needs to find more parts, more cryptex, more warriors, to bring that world engine back online. And so Knum is going to be very interested in this planet. The Chaos faction is also interested in it because if they can corrupt any of the manufactorums in the Forge world, of course they can increase their war effort in this subsector. Over here we have the hive world of Dosol, and home to billions and billions of humans and human variants. Now this is not owned by the Adeptus Mechanicus, but it is allied with the Forge world, having been provided with so much technology from them that the planetary governor here is definitely a good friend and ally to the Adeptus Mechanicus. In fact, as far as the Adeptus Mechanicus providing all of the war machines of the war effort in the subsector of Apothis, this hive world provides the bulk of the infantry, because each hive city, in which there are tons of hive cities on this planet, house billions of people. And so the regular ties to the Imperium just bolster the Astra Militarum quite regularly. And so the hive world of Dosol is of interest, of course, to the Adeptus Mechanicus because they want to keep it from falling into enemy hands. The Tyranids are very interested in this world because of the huge amount of biomass that is on there. Not only is the world not totally irradiated and the environment's not totally gone, so the planet itself has flora and fauna that they can consume, but there are so many people that it would bolster the Tyranid forces. The Chaos are also very interested in this because this is one of the worlds that is part of the warp convergence. So they need to capture this planet to be able to enact their rituals. Already Chaos is at work corrupting the people. One of the hive cities in particular has already fallen to Chaos influence, unknown of course to the planetary governor. And so those three factions will be working very hard to conquer this planet. You may remember Ixia from the Storms of Ixia campaign. Well, as part of the prophecies, the warp storms have actually abated long enough to bring Ixia back into the subsector to allow it to be part of the Grand Convergence. So it is a warp convergence world, just like Dosol. And of course, this is the staging point for the largest force of High Fleet Charon because they were there. Even more of the fleet arrived because of the Tyranids being pulled through the warp and deposited on this planet. So there is a large number of Tyranids. There's still some leftover orcs there as well, so there's a bit of a chaos presence because of the orcs constantly battling with the Tyranids. So that's going to be represented by the Chaos faction already having a bit of a foothold on this world. So it's mainly the Tyranids and the Chaos that'll be interested in Ixia. The Necrons have one other reason that they want to conquer Ixia, and that is because Knum wants revenge on the High Fleet Charon for having destroyed his initial homeworld. This is why he's been building the world engine to begin with. So he'll have a secondary objective to try to get tiles next to Tyranids and to constantly battle them and to get revenge for what they have done to him in the past. While the moon of Finet may seem not that important, it actually is of vital importance to the Necrons, Adeptus Mechanicus, and the Chaos faction. Tyranids aren't interested in a dead world, but the reason the Necrons are interested in it is the same reason the Adeptus Mechanicus are interested in it. It turns out this moon actually is a tomb world. The Adeptus Mechanicus recently found that out, and with their insatiable hunger for knowledge about the Necron technology, they are now going to attempt to take over this world so they can fold it into their studies. Of course, Khnum is interested in retaking it so that he can activate the tomb world and get more reinforcements and more technology. The Chaos are interested because inside of this tomb world is a very powerful null field device, and this projects a null presence to the warp. And so the Chaos demons won't be able to manifest on this planet, and it also is disrupting the grand convergence that they're trying to do in this subsector. And so they're going to have to send, right now there are cultists and Chaos Space Marines who are there, and the cultists have been put to work as slaves, essentially just digging deeper and deeper into the tunnels, trying to break their way into this tomb world and to destroy the null field device. If they can do that, then they'll actually be able to initiate their big ritual once all the planets come into alignment. So Necrons, Adeptus Mechanicus, and Chaos all want this moon. Recently, a demon world has popped out of the warp. This is the world of Amon. It's actually teeming with biomass, so the Tyranids are very interested in it. It's not your typical biomass of jungles and all of that. It's all sorts of twisted and distorted, and it is infested with demons, which the Tyranids, of course, can't eat, but there's plenty of other biomass for them to be interested in. This is, of course, very important to the Chaos faction because it's a big part of their warp convergence, and also is the biggest stronghold for the demons and Chaos in this subsector. The Necrons are also slightly interested in this because it turns out that millions of years ago, a Catan was imprisoned, a very powerful Catan shard, I should say, a group of shards were imprisoned here, and they hold the mysteries of better controlling the Catan. So if the Necrons can free this Catan, it'll actually give them slight buffs to the Catan models in the Necron armies. And then of course the demons need to hold it as a warp convergence world, and the Tyranids want to consume it to add to their fleets. And here we have the dead world of Valonium. It used to house a large population of the Imperium hundreds of years ago, but unfortunately they kind of got embroiled in the civil war and unleashed some very powerful annihilation devices which completely destroyed the planet's surface and destroyed the hive cities and most of the manufacturing capabilities, the environment, everything. This world is irradiated and is a hot zone, so any battles fought here are going to have the environment working against them as well. And this world is important to the demons because it is one of the warp convergence world. Everybody else might not seem like they have any interest in this, but it turns out that a lot of these devices, this planet was actually rife with a lot of these annihilation devices. So whoever can control this world will have access to using these devices to blow up the tiles on other planets. So everybody will have an interest to get there so that they can be the one blowing up tiles rather than their opponents doing the same thing. There will also be a special mission later on, which I'm not going to reveal right now, which will happen on this world, and it'll be very critical to the entire campaign. And lastly, we have the Space Hulk. Now, this Space Hulk was recently towed into the same system as Vadarak by some rogue traders who found it and wanted to sell it to the Adeptus Mechanicus because they rightfully assumed that the Adeptus Mechanicus would be really interested in salvaging it, because who knows what hidden technologies are on the ships that are thousands of years old. On top of that, there's even a Necron ship that has been squashed into the Space Hulk along with all the rest. Who knows how that even happened millions of years ago? Maybe it got pulled into the warp, maybe it was left over. Nobody really knows how that could happen. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a Tyranid infestation on the Space Hulk. And the Tyranids, the High Fleet Kharon, are very interested. They're drawn to the psychic beacon of the gene stealers that are in there. And who knows what genetic information can be unlocked unlocked from there. So we have the Tyranids, the Adeptus Mechanicus, and the Necrons all interested in taking over the Space Hulk wherever they can. And all battles on the Space Hulk will be played using the Zone Mortalis rules. So which faction is going to be victorious? Nothing is predetermined except the starting points and maybe a couple special missions that we're going to be doing throughout it. But we have no end goal planned. It's whatever happens based on the battle reports that come out from people like you who come in to challenge us. So if you want to play in a battle report that's involved with this open narrative campaign of Warzone Apothis, then go to miniwargaming.com/Apothis for all the details. Make sure you read through all the documents there and then email one of us to challenge us to a game. So go ahead to miniwargaming.com/Apothis. There'll also be links in the video description below. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more Warzone Apothis battle reports, and happy wargaming.